So welcome everyone again. We're super happy you found your way here. For those of you that stumbled into the call not knowing much about UNCAP yet, I just want to give you a quick introduction of what UNCAP is actually doing. What you might have experienced before as an entrepreneur, raising money is a very difficult and tedious process, at least it can be. And it is usually very lengthy with a lot of meetings, and there's an enormous bias with regards to gender, education, where you are from, etc. And some of you might already have experienced this. This makes investments very hard to access for a lot of early stage businesses before they even start fundraising. So why is that? It's because the investments model currently don't cater for the different needs that there are in the market. And those business models that would do just don't exist yet. We are in business to completely rethink how funding works and how it can best work for all entrepreneurs, developing a completely remote process, and which is highly accessible to everyone and way quicker and getting quicker and quicker over time. It is taking out bias from investment decision, and it allows us to invest in thousands of entrepreneurs like you over the next years. And we are super happy that you're accompanying us on this journey so early on. It's great you're here. It's great that you're also joining those webinars to understand more what UNCAP is actually doing and what we are planning to do in the next years and what is happening after the application. I would like to introduce, of course, our co-panelists here, team members of UNCAP. So some of you that already joined former webinars might know Esther already. Esther is our investment lead based out of Nairobi, Kenya. We are super glad we have her since earlier this summer. And Johannes, our COO managing director, has been for UNCAP for quite some time. So great to have you also. My name is Elias. I'm the product lead at UNCAP. I want to give a short overview of what we have done in those webinars in the past and what we are doing today, just so you also see like what could you look up if in the webinars on YouTube very soon if you have missed anything. So this is the fourth webinar this month that we are running. We have started giving you an overview of the platform and our offering. We then talked about the step 4 of our application process. For those that are running the application process already and are in it, know what I'm talking about, the quantitative business overview, and basically about why tracking and understanding financials is so important for this application, but just also for your long-term business success. Last week, we then gave you a deep dive into how our investment model works, the revenue-based financing model, and what the benefits of revenue-based financing are compared to other financing models for early-stage entrepreneurs. So as I said, you can actually check those out. I hope later today on our YouTube channel. We are currently finalizing that, and happy if you go there and see what you might have missed, and yeah, just as a pointer. Today is about what you can expect after you have submitted your application. And with that, I already want to hand it over to Johannes and Esther. We have like a slightly different format to make it very engaging for you this time as well. Basically an interview format between Esther and Johannes. And then we can just transfer that over into your questions as well. So let's make it as engaging as possible. Great to have you all here again, and I'm happy to hand over now to Esther and Johannes.
Thank you, Elias. I will just give a little overview of how this will go around, and just to cover some of the basic questions that we've come across from entrepreneurs that are going through this process and have maybe filled out their application already and are just curious on what happens next. And so basically Esther will fill the shoes of the many entrepreneurs that have applied and ask some of those questions that have come up, and I will try to answer them as best as I can. But let's see how it goes. So Esther, happy for you to take the lead.
Brilliant. If you've joined some of the earlier webinars, you'll know that I've mentioned that I have a past in entrepreneurship. I like to say I'm a recovering entrepreneur. So I will sit in the seat of the entrepreneur and ask questions that I feel some of you may have already. And then hopefully towards the end of this call, you can also add any other questions that we may have missed along the way. So essentially what we're assuming is that you have completed the application. So what next? So Johannes, I have finished my application. What happens next? What's the immediate next step? When do I hear from you next?
So usually when you've finished and submitted your application, you will actually very clearly see that on the platform where you've submitted your application. The next step is basically for us at UNCAP to evaluate all applications. So for this to go ahead, we actually have to wait for all the applications to have come in. So for the application deadline to finish, which is set for the end of September, the 30th of September. So just a side note, if you're still doing your applications or you haven't started yet, yeah, no time is like the present. So, so basically the next step is that UNCAP will evaluate your application, and we will need probably a month and a half to qualify all the applications that we have received. Just to let you know, we've already received over 1,500 applications, a lot of which are still being processed and are yet to be submitted. So make sure you get in there in time. So there's a lot of evaluation for us to do. And so you will hear from us as soon as this evaluation time has come to an end, and you will be notified if you have become eligible for funding or not. So summed up in a sentence, the next step is for UNCAP to do the evaluation, and that will take probably until November, so mid-November, and then you will get a notification on whether you have been qualified and are eligible for a funding offer.
All right, so you've talked about qualification and evaluation. How will my application be qualified?
That's a good question. So this is where UNCAP is a little bit unconventional, as how you can find our name, UNCAP, Unconventional Capital. So we really believe in finding the right entrepreneurs, really finding quality entrepreneurs who are the biggest factor of success of their business. So we focus our evaluation on two main components. The first component is the state of your business. Have you got a registered business? Have you got some market traction? Have you received some revenues? So what is the state of your business and how are you tracking? The second component is focused more on you as an entrepreneur and your founding team. So if you have a co-founder or several co-founders, this is where within the application you select multiple founders, and this is where we evaluate basically three main components: the skill set, the character, and the behavior. So this is a part of our evaluation that we really think is very important, since we are doing our investment remote and data-driven. So we really value a lot getting to understand who you are and what your potential is as an entrepreneur. Then these components are assessed and scored by our platform in an automated way. And on that basis, each entrepreneur basically gets qualified in terms of, is their business ready? Are they registered and do they have traction? And the second component, do they have a high potential in form of entrepreneurship? And if we qualify both those things, then you will most likely get a funding offer.
Sounds exciting. But I heard you say that you have over 1,500 applications in progress. How many do you plan to select?
Yes, so that's a good question. So we aim to make at least 100 investments. But it's really a numbers game, because at the end of the day, a lot of the applications we might receive end up not being eligible. So they might be from outside of the region that we're focusing. They might still be in the ideation phase. So we really need a large number of quality and complete applications to really find that fit that we're looking for. But don't be discouraged, because 100 investments is still more than most investment companies are making. So I think the chances of an entrepreneur getting funding from a well-known venture capital firm is, much lower than maybe getting an investment from us. So if you have all your ducks in a row, if you're eligible to the criteria that we've set for this cohort, then you have a decent chance to get an investment offer.
Okay. Look, Johannes, I'm an entrepreneur. I saw that your countries of focus are Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Nigeria, but I took my shot because, entrepreneurs are all about taking shots. So what if I have submitted a great application from a country outside of your countries of focus? Will I still get a chance at being funded?
Yeah, no, I think we really value applications from every entrepreneur. And I think in principle, we are also a startup. We are also founders, Esther, myself, Elias. So, we're founding UNCAP, and we're building up the capacity step by step. So for now, we are focusing investing in businesses in these 4 countries, but we really plan to expand this every year. So this is one side. So we won't be able to fund you in this cohort if you're outside of these 4 countries. But what our applicants often might not notice is that our platform offers a lot more value than just funding, right? Because as an entrepreneur, you're focused every day on, getting traction, getting customers, building your product. So, we want to support you there. We want to create an ecosystem. So this is the growth part of our platform, which will be able to give you insights on your key performance indicators, which will give you a dashboard to make really data-driven decisions. It will give you access to resources that are provided by local capacity builders in your region. So it's really a community that you should be part of as early as possible, so that you can grow your business and then apply to the next cohort if it's available in your region, in your country. So just hang in there and use that time to grow and to progress. And then you've already built a track record with us being a user on our platform, and that goes a long way. So.
Wow, sounds like a lot that you're offering there. I hope my business gets funded or not. There's all these resources that you've mentioned. So, but what does it mean if I don't qualify for funding? Does it mean that my business is just not investment ready?
So no, we don't want to make a contextual or very subjective assessment on the quality of your business. So if you don't receive a funding offer from us, that could be for a variety of reasons. But it really shouldn't discourage you from staying on track, fulfilling your vision. It might just be a combination that your business model might not be scalable. So you might want to open the best restaurant in town in your neighborhood, and you have the most innovative idea and the best way to do that. So you might be a very, very fantastic entrepreneur, and you might set up a very successful business, but it might not be scalable in a way that we need to fulfill our responsibilities to our investors. So we really believe that not getting an investment offer shouldn't be discouraging for any entrepreneur. It should actually just be contextualized, and we hope really to also give you those insights and the understanding why you have not qualified. So we try to be very transparent on our process and our selection process. So yes, I think we believe that every entrepreneur has his mission, and we don't think it's an assessment on investment readiness in general. It's just maybe not a good fit for us.
Actually, you mentioned sending notifications to those who actually qualify. What about me who doesn't qualify for funding? Will we get a notification of the same?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, we are an inclusive platform, not an exclusive platform. We really want to create a place for all entrepreneurs to find a place to communicate with each other, to access resources. So if you don't qualify for funding, you can still qualify to become part of the UNCAP community, to get access to the other benefits of the platform. And I mean, if you don't fill out or you don't finish your application, or you don't follow up on the notifications we send you, then we cannot force you to take a road that you don't want to. So this is a very opt-in kind of mindset for you to have. So if you don't qualify, you will still get a notification for us. You will still have certain choices to make, whether you still want to be part of the UNCAP community or whether you want to try a different opportunity.
Okay. The flip side of that. So what if I do get selected, I'm eligible? How does the investment payout work? So let's say November comes, the selection has happened. and you say, I do qualify for investment sometime in December, how does that investment payment work out?
Yeah, so that is obviously a very exciting process. And that would involve us basically making you an investment offer. And this offer would involve also a certain legal due diligence and certain KYC processes, contracting. So this is kind of the deal flow part of making the investment. And there are still, some hoops to jump through, like providing audited financials of the last year, of providing a tax compliance certificate, and backing up all the numbers and the processes you have done in the application process with documentation. So we obviously have certain standards to maintain and certain jurisdictional conformity to adhere to. So we will let you know, and that will be also a next component of the platform, is to guide you through those processes and those steps, similar to the application process, but of course focused on closing the deal, so to say. So it's important also when that time comes to make sure you have all your documentation in order, that you have your CR12s ready if you're in Kenya, your shareholding overview, your tax compliance certificate, and that you are who you say you are, and that must then be verified through certain digital processes.
Sounds exciting. So let's say we've done all of that. One final question from me as an entrepreneur. What is the immediate next step after that? Do I just take the money and run?
So I think so. Once we've passed through all that legal contracting and the deal flow, the due diligence, basically we make a partnership agreement, right? So at the end of the day, it's a win-win arrangement, and we want to take a back seat in your journey that you're having as an entrepreneur, and we want to be able to support you where you need support, right? We take a minority share, so we don't make decisions for you. You are really the one building and growing your business, and we are there to support you on that. And we are able to do that at your fingertips on that platform. So I think what is important to understand is the type of instrument, the type of investment instrument that we offer you is revenue-based financing. So basically, we make an investment in you, and that investment is then paid back through a revenue share. So we are in the same boat, and we are supporting each other. We're supporting you as an entrepreneur on your growth journey, and you are supporting us as a financial service provider, making sure that we can support you as best as possible, but also support the millions of other entrepreneurs in your region.
Brilliant. And that brings us to time. Those are my questions as Esther, the entrepreneur. But I can see already in the Q&A that we have a few more questions from the attendees. Okay, with that, I think that is a good way to wrap this session up today. I'll hand it over to both Elias and Johannes for final comments. But thank you all for joining us today, and see you next week.
Yeah, from my end, thank you everyone for joining and asking really good questions. I think if you if you come up with more questions that are relevant to make your application, to submit your application, please let us know. And if we haven't answered any questions in terms of what happens next, feel free to also use the support function and raise a question there. If you have, and do look into the past office hours, because there's a lot of information that will help you not just complete your application, but to understand what the different aspects are of these different info sessions.
Cool, thank you, Johannes. And I can only like add to that, or yeah, it's exactly what I wanted to say. Also, check YouTube. We have like they will be finished this evening. Either subscribe or save the link, whatever you prefer, for later, that I also sent in the chat. And just the last remark, we will have another webinar next week, right before the deadline. As we said, topic is open. We got some ideas again from this webinar, I guess, on what we can talk about. But if you have any ideas, also write to support@unconventional.capital or to hello@unconventional.capital. We'll consider it, and yeah, happy to get your feedback and your ideas on that as well. Thank you very much all for joining.